We are live here. I have reached 200 subscribers 200,000 subscribers. I said 200 subscribers. And I think the lady I'm interviewing today disappeared, but she has been in TNA Impact Wrestling back when people still actually watched it. She's a musician. She's a model. She's a woman that receives a lot of disturbing messages on a regular basis that we're going to ask her about. We're going to take fan questions. And by the way, anyone that wants to tip us today, I know my fans like to tip sometimes. I'm going to split it with her, just so you guys know in advance. And her name is Goldilocks. She's I thought you had black hair, but I guess that may have been
I was gonna do it, and the podcast that I was on went a little long. I mean, I can go throw it on, but it'll take some time. So yeah, I mean, we were gonna do the black hair. I told you the 3:30 slot that for sure I could do the black hair, but you said 1:30, so.
Yeah, you're on Central Time. I have to do something later today. I actually just woke up. I'm a little tired. I stay up all night. I only go to bed at like 8 or 9 in the morning.
I got to have enough for cleavage, but not sweatpants showing. That won't yield any tips. Nobody's going to tip a sweatpant wearer.
So many people don't realize that most people that do interviews don't actually dress to the bottom like they do at the top.
No, I don't wear any. I am wearing pants today. God forbid I say that I wasn't. I said that once on an interview with John Arisi, and I got hate mail.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Well, James is probably disappointed because he says here that the black hair in the thumbnail was very nice.
Oh, is he disappointed? Well, I mean, if you want to talk for a little bit, I can go pop it on. I think it's in the other room.
It's all good. Gooner Man is asking who is the worst smelling wrestler you've ever encountered.
Okay, so I got a lot of heat on the last time that we did. I either had people really love what we talked about or me, or like they just went for the jugular. Like apparently there are some really unhappy people out there, and we got to bring them some sunshine. So who's the person asking? Let me address him by his name.
I'll look it up, but TGY TV Tim just tipped you $5 and says that you are.
So here's the deal. I don't like to talk about names because let me just tell you something, Sweet Pea, and thank you for the tip. Holy shit, that's going to ban tour bus repairs, and you have no idea. As the COVID drains my freaking bank account. So I don't like to say names because this business is small and like word gets around and like, you bump into people and like, this is a physical business and I can get my ass kicked literally for talking some smack, bro. But I will say that in my TNA days that there were some guys that smell so bad that it makes you reflex gag. And I'm going to tell you why, because this is a tip. I don't know if you have a wife or girlfriend, bro, but if you're doing your own laundry, I'm going to make that $5 tip worth your while with this. Okay. When these guys work, okay, and they sweat and there's a lot of salt, then what do? They take their shit and they put it in their duffel bag or their wheelie, their wheelie luggage thing that you see the gimmick that all wrestlers have. They wheel the shit into the venue and they just pile wet stuff in there. Now, another element is the baby oil in the hair. Okay. And baby oil is not meant to go into your hair. What it does, bro, is it actually clogs up your follicles and makes your hair fall out. And then you're balding by the time you're like, there's nothing wrong with balding, but maybe you wanted to prevent that. Don't put the baby oil in the hair. You take the baby oil and all the sweat and all the stuff and you leave it in your bag and you don't wash it until the next pay-per-view or the next indie show or whatever. Bro, that stuff smells so bad that, you might think, hey, I might have a chance with this guy, or maybe I want to ask him out. And you creep up, kind of looking to see what he's working with. And it's like, it is so bad. So if you're into stinking really bad, some people are, we got a lot of fetishes that we're going to get into on this podcast. Cause boy, they're coming out in droves finding me this week. If you're into stinky guys, do the baby oil gimmick and don't wash your clothes. One more thing is a lot of dudes, and I'm guilty of this cause I kind of am a dude in some ways, with blonde hair and sometimes a black wig, is if you've got those, first off, you throw your stuff in the laundry. Anybody listen to this happening to you? You throw your stuff in the laundry and you're just like, set it and forget it. And that shit marinates for days. And you didn't dry it. It's going to get moldy, and it's really, really hard to get that mold smell out of there, and you stink. And nobody at work wants to tell you that you smell like shit. So that's another thing. Wash your clothes and dry them right away, or you're going to smell just like those workers. Thank you.
I luckily haven't encountered too many that smell that bad. Luckily.
Really?
Yeah.
There's been times where, and some of the women, I don't even want to get into that. Some of the women, like, dude, and you know what? God bless them. There are some people that clinically have areas that smell like fish. It's not their fault, but there are things you can do. There's sprays. You can go to the doctor. You can figure out, like, what is this aroma that I'm creating naturally, because I don't want to smell it.
The worst guy that I ever wrestled that smelled bad, and I won't go into too much detail on this story, was the last time I made the policy of I'll never wrestle in a building without a shower again, because I wrestled this guy and he had BO.
Oh, dude.
And then when I was driving home, his smell was on me. So for like the 2-hour drive, my whole car reeked of BO, and I was ready to kill him.
Guys don't have cologne that usually smells like shit, but a lot of women, and especially older women, they've got this cologne that smells like what you spray on your junk if you're 80 plus. We all know what it is because we smell it in public restrooms. Sometimes these women at music shows will come and they've got these big hugs for you. And then I swear to God, you smell like this old perfume for the whole, and it's like you can't get that whiff out of it. It's always like some older lady taking a dump in a public place, and then she's gonna spray this stuff on her, and now I smell like it, and I'm singing songs, and no, I got you, bro. But guys don't smell like that. Like most guys' colognes, even if they're like the cheapest of cheap, Axe body spray, like knockoff, it still doesn't smell like the punani spray. So you got that going for you?
And I would say thank you to Maria Davis, who tipped $20.
A woman?
Very nice.
Wait, a woman?
Yes, we have some women viewers on this channel.
God, thank you. I love the guys, but anytime that there's a woman, thank you for being here. What can we answer for you? I love you.
She didn't even have a question.
Maria, what do you want? Girl, seriously, you're a big deal. I want to support you. What can we sing you a song? Can we tell you a story? Maria, what do you got, girl?
She just wants to be kind, but Michael Delator says, how was it being on cheap skates rather?
Before we get to Michael's question, Maria, I want you to come up with any song from any band or any artist, and I want you to name 3 of them in the comments for him. Please do that for me, girl. Because that's a big deal what you just did, and thank you. Okay, cheapskates. Cheapskates. God, there's stuff that I want to tell, but I can't because the COVID happened and there was like a really big thing that was happening. I'll just say that probably when this all unfolds, I'm going to be going and living with families for 2 weeks to 3 weeks at a time and knocking some sense into people having to do with saving money. And it's going to be edgy. They found me because of cheapskates, which was really edgy. And people say, oh, that's so gross that you would use, a sock as a sanitary. Look, the phrase is she's on the rag. Okay. Like there's a reason why that phrase came to be, because before there were tampons and pads and all this, basically you just found whatever you had. I don't care if you're pioneer days and it was a leaf. Like, what do you think the Bushmen of Kalahari are using when they're bleeding? Let's just be real. So I remember one time, Michael, when we were touring and I just happened, you're a guy. You don't just, like, what's the closest thing? Like maybe you ate something bad and you shit your pants. Like you don't want to, but it just happens. So as a woman, we menstruate and I was like stressed and like there was a lot of fluid and I was like, what do I do? And I literally grabbed my bandmate's sock because he left his dirty ass sock in our bus. And I was like, I'll show him. And I'm very spiteful where I used to be in the past. And I just folded up that sock and I tucked it in. And then when he goes looking for his sock, maybe he'll put his stuff away. And that's how it all started. And that is how the whole sock gimmick is how I got the show. Is I sent that in. It's a reel, and I tell stories about how I save money. But I've done some really crazy things to save money, and I'm very passionate about helping people save money. And I think when you save a lot of money, then you've got more money to go eat or woo a woman or a guy or whatever you're into, or buy gifts for people or do really nice things for people. So when people say, are you really that cheap? I am beyond the cheapest son of a bitch you've ever met. But I love to get, like Maria just did, I love to give away what I have. Too much, almost to a point. She better come up with a song or two.
Now, you were mentioning on Twitter, I saw some of your posts that you've been having some fans, I guess, message you some bizarre stuff.
Do you want me to read one?
Sure, why not?
Okay, so this is from last night.
Put it up on the screen so these people can...
Okay, like, I want you guys to understand this. Like, I'm not judging this person for what his fantasies are, but this is just definitely not something that I'm into. And I'm going to tell you why. I just did a podcast with a radio station for All To You, our current single. Please go look at the video and All To You on YouTube, Goldilocks. Go leave a kind comment. It's for suicide prevention. And it's helping some people that just Google suicide or hurting themselves. And they go to this video and they see the comments, and there's some beautiful comments from some of Hannibal's people. And thank you for that. But I always like to push people towards the light or to something positive or motivating or love, because life freaking sucks as it is. Like, we don't need any more reminders about the things that are going wrong. I think we need to work on the things that are going right. So when I see, people comment like this, being a daughter of a cop, of a parole officer who dealt with rapists and murderers and pedophiles and people with massive psychological problems who that leads to killing, raping, and hurting other people. Like, this is embedded in me. Like, I want to make a difference out there. Again, I'm not judging this man. I'm just saying I'm getting desensitized. Like, I'm wondering if I'm ever going to get laid again, because this is the stuff that pours into my brain. So please, let me share this with you so that you can have this brain worm too. This is what I get all day long. Now, provided I'm on Cameo too. We talked about this last night with my guitarist and my friend. Like, there are people on Cameo. Let's just say, like, Brett Favre. Let's just say or maybe even Bret Hart. You know Bret, or maybe you're a Bret Hart supporter, a fan. You probably want Bret to just wish you happy birthday or wish Aunt Clara a happy birthday. Like, do you want this from Bret Hart? I'm going to read this because I don't think, like, I shouldn't be valued for being able to sing you a song or give you an educated shout out, but I'm not going to do this. All right. Drum roll, please. So first off, he says, can you do fantasy cameos? I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe. Tell me what you mean by a fantasy cameo. Do you want me to dress up like Little Bo Peep and yell at you or whatever, and Hannibal, some of the stuff that you've maybe seen with the black wig and all that gimmick, that is because you said to me on our podcast, if you could go back and be the biggest heel ever, what would it be? And I was like, I'm going to come up with this. So I went back to kind of like a TNA day, the gimmicks that I used to wear, and I expanded on it. I don't want to beat men. God. Okay. So I said, let me know what you mean by these fantasies. Can you please humiliate me and cuss at me and my mother? And I mean, really swear at us. I enjoy being controlled by a queen like you. Tell me that I'm a son of a bitch and an MF, blah, blah, blah. Also, I enjoy to imagine that you F my mom in front of me while we worship you together. You can tie up my mom and beat her and swear at her and do other things to her that involve secretions of different holes. Okay. My mom's name is blah, 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 and we are both your slaves forever. Please desecrate and beat us. Well, okay, that's just not like, I don't think that at the end of the day, that's a good idea. Like, I don't think I could call up my aunt in Austin, Texas and be like, Auntie, let me tell you how I made some money today. If you can't look at yourself in the mirror and just kind of be proud at what you're doing or tell the world and shout it from the mountaintops, then maybe it's not, I'm just saying maybe it's not a good idea. So I mean, this sort of thing, or I've got a lot of men that they want to be my slave. I don't want a slave, bro. I want to get laid. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't need a slave. Call me old fashioned, just an old fashioned hard dick that works, maybe even semi works. We're good. That's cool. I think people are just getting too bored out there in the COVID that they're creating all of this crazy. You know, I'll wear a wig or two. Hey, dude, I'll do the wig gimmick. I'll be your fantasy. We'll put on a little costume and run around, but I'm not going to poop on you and swear at your mom and have sex with your mom. I like men. Yeah.
There's some bizarre stuff out there. I like to think I'm pretty normal. I don't really have anything that crazy, especially for wrestling. There's a lot of fucked up people out there.
Oh, can we swear? I didn't want to swear. No, I don't think like you're supposed to like honor your mom and dad, and that's kind of biblical. You don't even need.
Yeah, your parents involved is gross.
Yeah, and again, I know people have their fantasies and stuff like that, but like maybe you want to check into that one because I don't think about like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
okay, moving on.
Disturbing.
It's disturbing.
Beater Carr tipped you $5, and he says, "Do you still talk to Dixie Carter? And do you believe she slept with any wrestlers?"
Wow, that's a great question. Okay, so here's the deal. I do still talk to Dixie. She is very guarded. I went to her home a little while ago, and I made the mistake of saying that because then I got blasted with people on DMs wanting me to contact her. She was so busy when I went to go see her at a meeting that was supposed to take 30 minutes that I ended up being there for about 4 hours because every time I was going to show her something that I'm working on, which you can look it up, www.ican lowercase cer.life, iCancer.life. It's a program that I'm trying to implement in hospitals and chemical repair different centers for cancer. And I went to her saying, I want to show you this and see what relationships you have with St. Jude's or Vanderbilt or anybody listening right now that has a hospital relationship. Please get a hold of me and check out the whole movement we're doing. I'm telling you, 4 hours being at Dixie's house, I might have gotten 20 minutes with her because she kept getting called for big businesses that they're doing on the phone. And it was cool because I know her husband, Serge, very well. He's been very cool to me. And there's a difference between personally being cool to somebody and in business being cool to somebody. Like a lot of times, you know, if you can separate that stuff for real, you're better off because TNA as a whole sometimes didn't treat me the way that I would have liked to have been treated. But that doesn't mean that I have to have any discrepancy with people that where they're just doing the best job that they can. They're in the office. They don't even know all the stuff that's going on. So to answer your question, have I personally wondered? Sure, we all have. But I guess at the end of the day, I'm like, it's none of my business. And I don't know. And what's the name of the person asking the question?
Beater Carr.
Okay, Beater Carr. I'm not going to go into detail, but I've slept with some people that I shouldn't have, had no right to. And I will probably rot in hell for some of the ways that I used to run when I was younger. And I felt that my actions had no repercussions. And I was a selfish mother trucker for not realizing that I affect other people. So he without sin cast the first stone, Mr. Beater. I got enough shit to clean up on my plate before I even go thinking about where somebody else is doing their business. So I have thought about it. You are human, but I've never asked and I never would because I got my own stuff that I need to work on, if that makes any sense, bro.
I believe that Scott Hall started that rumor because there's a clip of him out there saying that he heard Dixie slept with a bunch of the boys. So I think that's where that came from.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's not my business. I wouldn't care if she did. Like I said, I've slept with people I shouldn't have slept with. And I'm sure Mr. Hannibal here isn't completely innocent either. I'm not saying. I
am innocent, totally innocent. Stephen Curtis tipped you $20. And he says,
you guys, I love you. Thank you. What can we do for you?
He says, how many dates does your band play each year, not including 2020, obviously?
Okay, it's Steven.
Yes.
It used to be between 120 and 300 a year. So we were out 3-4 nights a week and loving it. Now that has pulled back even before the COVID, just because of economy and things like that. So in a perfect world, we would be out 2 nights a week, maybe 3. And then just so you know, we are a full-fledged, not even cover band, but a utility band. We've got like 800 songs that we can just shit out and blow you away with, anything from 50s all the way to like now, like all of that gap. We are a more edgy rock band. I would love to get with like Chris Jericho's band and do some shows with them. And it would be such a good fit because we do a lot of shows for like Bret Michaels or, you know, Three Doors Down, One Republic, Nickelback, Puddle of Mud, Three Doors. Did I say that? You know, and it's like a lot of the women, I'm sure they're thinking like, well, who the hell is this? Like, I'm not sleeping with these guys. I've got enough problems in my own camp. Like, we really are there to pump you up and get you going. So like, we are the perfect opening act just because of you guys. People say everything that I needed to learn in life, I learned in kindergarten. I'm telling you, I could list a ton of things right now that might even help you guys of what I learned in professional wrestling and how it was so foreign to me and how it has transcended into not only my dating life, my friendships, but my business and music. So what I learned in wrestling really helps me get gigs in the music industry. We can't wait to be playing more. We love to be doing wrestling events or conventions. Like, my dream is to get to some conventions, 6 a year, and fucking rock your dick off like that. Because there's so many bros at that stuff. And like, dude, we cover Pantera, we cover Metallica, we cover Stone Temple Pilots, we cover like heavy stuff and alternative and grunge and Nirvana and Foo Fighters. And it's really fun. Some of the outfits that I wear, you know, it's fantasy. It's hot. It's sexy. I dropped 20 pounds for that stuff. I'm not limiting my fat. And I just know the photo ops would be so great. Like, we are so looking forward to getting back out there. So please know, like, that $20 that we're splitting, like, I still have to pay right now during the COVID for insurances and websites and all of this stuff. And I'm suffocating because I got to keep my own bills going. I haven't collected unemployment, bro. And we got to float all of this stuff and keep it all going. Because at the heart of it, you know, I am a musician. We do write songs, and we try to write songs like this All To You that's out there that makes a difference, and it creates conversations. It makes people think and helps you in some way. Thank you for your gift.
Trenton tipped you $4.99, and he says, when is your band's first public concert after COVID?
Dude, it was next week. And you want to talk about not having a ball sack? It's right here, because I have been treading water today and I'm avoiding my bandmates because I don't know how to tell them, like, the first income that we've had, which is next weekend, is now they canceled it this morning. So dude, we do have one in Florida that's on the books. I think it's October 10th. We've got one in Nashville that I'm just praying that we keep, because this is scary, you guys. And what's even scarier is when you have family members, adjust the girls, excuse me. When you have family members that you love and respect say, well, maybe when this is all over, Hannibal, you can identify with this, then you can get a real job. Let me tell you a story, okay? And thank you for the $4.99. Somebody said that to me right in the beginning of COVID, like April 1st, April 2nd. I literally sat on the stairs with my head in my hands, bawling my eyes out, because I felt like I'm even going to cry even thinking about it. I felt so bad that this person who supported me my whole life, all of a sudden, because of some bullshit, discredited my job or my line of work. Like, you can't tell me that some of the workers for AWA or WWE, like, that's a good fucking salary. Don't you dare discredit people because they're an independent contractor. There are nurses and doctors out there who do elective surgeries that are not working. So don't say my job isn't relevant, but bro, I cried so hard that I got in my car and I smashed it. And it was $10,000 worth of damage on top of, like, you know, my deductible was huge. Like, I screwed myself because I let somebody's comment, you know, get my dad's like, you got to let stuff roll off your back. And I'm like, you know what, with being online and having people just attack you all day long, like, thank you to the people that are here today. We fucking love you. Like, it's really hard to let all that stuff roll off. So I haven't told them about the cancellation yet. I'm going to have to after this podcast. I'll let them. I'm trying to do something really nice for them first so that I can sandwich it, like, hey, and then hey. But it was supposed to be next week. But October 10th, we've got a really badass like festival out Clearwater, Florida at a Harley Davidson. So I hope that they don't cancel it because we'll be outside and it should be badass. Like, we can't wait to melt some faces. Thank you for asking.
Hulk Hogan's hometown.
Is it?
Well, he lives there. Yeah. So does Bushwhacker Luke. He has a gym there.
Oh my, really? That's interesting. Yep. Okay. I didn't know that.
You might run into Hulk. Yeah. Maria, the girl that tipped you $20 earlier, she has her question now. She says, how long have you been in the wrestling industry? Where do you see yourself in the wrestling? Is the future as a champion, perhaps? And she says Carlos Santana is her favorite song, Maria, Maria.
Of course it is. God, I don't know that one. I'm going to have to figure that out.
You don't know Maria, Maria?
Carlos Santana. No, but that's her name, of course.
I even know that.
I gotta you sing it for her then. I'll split the tips with you.
You don't want to hear me sing, and I'm gonna need at least 12 drinks before you get me singing.
We make sure you figure out where her handle is. If it's on Twitter or Instagram, will you bookmark that or take a screenshot so I can find her later, please? Okay. So Maria, I actually did a really cool podcast with Hannibal a month or two ago. And he said, you know, would you ever want to come back? And like, what would you want to do? And I've been thinking about it and I would love to. And I know people have like tagged like Scott D'Amore and some other people. Like, I would, in a perfect world where I see myself and not where I hope, because I'm expecting this, like, I know the universe and God's going to deliver it. And with a name like Maria, you've got to be Catholic or something. So go with it, sister. But I would love more than anything to lock arms with some of my previous TNA friends. I definitely have my eye on a couple that I know are doing some things, but now that I know what I'm doing, or at least I have a comprehension of what I need to improve on, and I'm not like, my head's not up my ass like it was in TNA, I would love to go back and just be the most villainous heel, just off the charts, and really bring some incredible acting to it. And visually, I would like to push because I don't know if you know this, Maria, but back in the TNA WWE days, when I was involved in 2002 on up, I sewed a lot of the ring jackets and a lot of the entrance wear that the boys and girls wore. I made everything from their capes and their robes to their gauntlets to their wristbands. And I would love to go back and do it for myself and just make and then be in like I'm pretty ripped right now. I can't tell right now, but like, I'm pretty jacked. I'm getting like really, really cut, but I would love to just go and not only give the guys something to look at, but Maria, I have a place in my heart for women like you, especially when you get on there and show your balls and like tip $20. Thank you. I want to empower women on strength and internal strength. And I want to do that in wrestling. So as champion as that would be, I would love to go. And girl, listen to me now, believe me later. I would love to incorporate as many people in the promotion as possible and be like a really great glue to make sure that that everybody's included. Because sometimes people get, like I used to be, into their head and into their own shit so much that they have blinders on. It's like me. Like, I'd like to just be in there and be a facilitator so that everybody got a chance to shine and ideas were heard and cultivated. And it was like the best sports entertainment that you've ever seen. Great question.
You are so positive, aren't you?
Me?
So sweet. Yes.
I have to be. I had a mom that was literally dying from the day that she had me. And I wish that upon everybody. I wish that you could be around somebody that's terminally ill and doesn't bitch once, because it kicks you in the ass so much with what it can teach you. Because honest to God, my mom suffered her entire freaking life and you never heard about it. She made everything into a joke. Everything was theatrical and bigger than life. And I have no tolerance for people that complain, because I have a disabled dad. And I had a terminally ill mom, and my dad doesn't bitch either. Like the pain this mother trucker is in is off the charts, and he just goes to the gym and he pushes through it. So there is enough negativity in the world, and there always will be, that we need as many people out there, like obviously the people tipping and showing up here, that we need you in an army to keep things good. We need it.
I consider myself more evil than negative, and Harley Droxy is asking, can you play Sweating Bullets by Megadeth?
I don't know Megadeth. Now, let's go to, ask him. Megadeth was, who's the bass player? Dave Ellefson, right? Ask him.
Send us a message back who the bass player is for Megadeth. I only recall they did Goldberg's. Remember in WCW, Goldberg started with a really cool song.
Yes.
And then they like changed it to like this Megadeth song for a short period of time, but it didn't get over, so they changed it back to like
I don't know. Music. I don't know how they could have licensed that without.
They did it. Like they created a song for Goldberg. They came and played it. That's literally all I know about Megadeth.
Ask him, Dave. It's Dave Ellefson, right?
He'll message back. It could very well be.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's Dave. Because I'm on like 2 hours of sleep. But I'll give you a story. If you go look for any Goldilocks music, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Trust me. Go look up the song Mistaken Identity. It is the gayest, and I mean by happiest, but a lot of people in the LGBTQ community like the song. So it's just hand in hand. Go look up Mistaken Identity, because it's the happiest crap you've ever heard. It's just shitting rainbows, literally, bro. And that was written by Peter Schietauer from Temple of Brutality. Like the guy has the permanent implant horns. Like he's got his thing, written by him and Dave Ellefson from Megadeth, like who is the consummate bassist and front motherfucker. He is so badass. It is the happiest song you'll ever hear, but those are some of the people that kind of ghosted and wrote that song. So go check it out. You will be very surprised at just how incredibly wide span with talent and just everything that Dave is and Megadeth is.
And Instagram, a wrestling historian, has tipped you $5, and he says, who were your favorite male wrestler and knockout to interview in TNA?
Okay, so there's a lot of things going on with some of the podcasts with the Dups. They were my favorite, not my favorite, but I loved interviewing them because they were so bad. Like I can to this day, I can hear, there was a promo that we did, and it was later on. I had an aqua, like blue chiffon, like very pretty sleeveless butterfly gimmick on. I remember I bought it at BB in Beverly Hills, and I was like, oh, I feel very elegant in this. And it was like, all of a sudden they had this like shitty outhouse with literally like poop dripping off of it. And apparently like the gimmick was supposed to be like MTV Cribs, but they were going to like show me their house or something. So all I can remember is like walking in and having like Trevor Murdoch being like, ugh, how you doing, girl? Like I can totally hear him 21 years later. How you doing, girl? And he always had like all this dip. And like, that's a shoot. Like they stunk and they had all this shit like flying out of their mouth. And like, it was dripping on me. And those guys were so funny and they were so believable and so into their character that I just couldn't wait to. And there was a point where I like showed up with like a No Dups shirt on. Like I was on Disco Inferno's show. And if you remember, like I had the Dups on there with like the no smoking, red line through it, the no sign. And like, I made that on my own. And TNA was so great about allowing you to bring in your ideas. It's like, it was so chaotic and so dysfunctional. It was the Wild Wild West for real, that anything you brought in, they basically were like, just go ahead and do it. So the Dups were great. Sonny Siaki was so funny because he would call me Goofy Locks. And it would like, it set me off. Like, I didn't even realize like my face was grimacing and making like this. I guess I made a lot of disgusting faces, but like, he'd be like, not now, Goofy Locks. And Buff Bagwell would call me Goldy Lick. And like, And it was just really cool to like have people not just do what they were supposed to do or the suggested, but take it to another level. Like I'm an actress and was brought up in entertainment. So that's like a hunger. Like I'm not a pro wrestler by trade. So when you see like these guys in the back and they're going through terrifying choreography of like, you're going to do this and then this is going to happen and this is going to happen. Like when people say like, that's not real, that's really real to me because you can die on a pile driver. If you're not, there's some bumps I've been watching like AJ Styles in the early days. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how did you not die? How did you not die? Like it's one little move and like, you're done. And I even watched Kurt Angle the other day at the 96 Olympics wrestling with a broken neck. Like, good. Yeah. So the guys that always brought something to the table that would come around me, and I tell kids in schools, because bro, I do motivational talking to kids, pick your friends by who picks you. Same with your lady friend, or if you're gay, your partner, whatever, like whoever is really showing interest in you, which the Dupps did, Sonny Siaki did, Eric Watts did, like all the people that really they had, with the exception of Shelley, I don't even know his name because he shit on me so many, Alex, whatever, Shelly Belly. You know,
I think everyone's already forgotten about him, so I wouldn't worry.
It's fine. I'm just saying, like, I didn't, and I tell this story all the time. Like, I didn't know that the guy we had heat. I didn't know that he hated my guts and didn't like me. I didn't know. I wish he would have come. I wish Alex would have come to me and said, God, this makes me cringe when you do this, or you look like a stupid bitch when you do this, or I don't like this. Like, or you know what? Like when you're screwing in bed, you know, like, you know what? I don't, can we try something different? Can we try something new? Can we try a new position? Like wrestling like sex, you know, just come tell me, you know, rather than talk shit behind.
You seem like you'd be very intimidating to have sex with to a lot of people.
Beyond, you don't even want to know. I'll give you, when we're done with this question, I'll give you like the best, the worst Match.com date ever. It's so freaking good. I've never had redemption.
You were on Match.com. Oh my God.
For years.
Oh my God.
Match.com. This is what
I
happened.
could write a book on all my Plenty of Fish experiences.
Right. Most of my dates end up with me putting my clothes back on and counseling the guy and putting my arm around him and having him cry on my shoulder. So there was this Match.com date that I went to. I hope that answered your question. And thank you for the tip. There was a Match.com date that I went on, and it was this guy, and he was super cute. He was younger, and I was just like, yeah, I'm into this. So anyway, he was going to come to my studio in Nashville, and I was like, you know, I've got a photography studio, thefactoryphotography.com. Check it out. I've shot everybody there is to shoot, like the biggest names in music and sports entertainment, whatever. I've done it all. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to aim all the like lights, and I'm going to do like this modern day flash dance where I'm like on a chair and I'm doing like this whole like dance for him. I make him sit on the chair and I'll lap dance him and I'll get like all this va-va-voom and I'm going to really bring it. And I was like, I was watching all these sisters online like twerking, and I'm like, I got this down, bro. This is it's gonna be good. I went out and got some new lingerie. I got some sexy heels. I got the garters. I got the full gimmick. Like I'm raring and ready to go. I swear to God, we get here and we went. That didn't work out. Like we were getting naked and freaky and everything like that in the bedroom. And then all of a sudden he's like, I can't do this. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't do this? Like, I've just spent a lot of money on like some shit online, bro. He's like, I can't, I just miss her. And I'm like, all right. I put everything back on. I was just like, I can't sit here with this guy, like bawling his eyes out. Like, I just miss my ex. And I'm like, all right. Come on. What do you got? All right. Why did you guys break up? Like, walk me through the history of and so it ended up with me saying, I want you to pick up that phone right now and call her. And I'm sitting with like a freaking shit wrapped on me. And I'm like, let's clean up. Let's go to Waffle House. Let's just be friends and whatever. And that was like the end of that deal. I show up at the gym. Okay. And this is in Antioch, Tennessee. Yeah, I'm the only white person there. I can say that because these brothers are freaking huge and they are monsters. So my friend came out, he was like, huh? Yeah. How'd the date go? I'm like, all right, I'm going to break it down. I didn't even get to the part of where he started crying. He was like, hey, Dion. He's like, that was no brother. That was a white man. I was was like, yes, he was white. Ain't no brother. So he just went through the whole thing. He's like, come over, tell him the story. And then she was like doing the thing and he cried. And he cried. He like had to tell like every black man in there. And he's like, that ain't no brother. Now you be with a brother that never happened. It was so funny. But like to this day, and that guy's like the I am whatever the like weightlifting champion like last 3 years in a row. He's like, these are huge guys. And they're like, if you would have been with a black man, that would have never happened. So that's what I took home from that. Like, all right, well, I guess white guys are wimpy then. That's not racist. That's the truth.
Oh, I don't know if we all are, but that's pretty sad. That guy, that is really sad.
I never
I
got
would have just left him there. You're nicer than me. If someone did that, that's pretty bad. That's pathetic, actually.
It was. And then, you know, what's even more pathetic is like a year later, he found me on Match.com again. And I'm like, dude, get off of here. Get off of here.
Well, Maria, who already tipped $20, tips another $5 because you asked if she's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. She says yes. Maybe she could follow you and you could follow her back.
Goldilocks rocks, and I'll make sure that I get you something for your tip. Goldy, GOLDYLOCKS rocks. Do it right now, girl, and I'm going to check while we're talking here.
And Dan has tipped you $5. He says, have you talked to your accountant about the band getting disaster relief loans? Your CPA is doing a good service to you. If not,
Dan, Dan, I need to tip. First off, it's not to me, Hannibal. We're splitting this. Thank you. Second of all, I should be paying you $5 for your question because that's a beautiful and kind.
He said he could help you too, by the way.
I would love it. So let me tell you what my CPA, who's actually I met through the Jarretts, believe it or not. That's how I met this incredible CPA. Everybody at the firm says my bottom line last year, bro, was I made a lot, but let me tell you what I do with it. I overpay a lot of people. So at the end of the day, like my take home last year was so freaking pathetic that by the time you took the months that you were to divide, it wouldn't even be worth the time that it would take to apply. So if what I'm saying makes sense to you and resonates maybe, then that's one possible answer. But if let's just say I made jack shit squat last year, if that's the case and my CPA and firm is correct, then that's where I'm at. But if again, Goldilocks rocks at on Instagram or Twitter, please find me if you've got some other loopholes. Somebody last night said they did get unemployment and everything, and can I just tell you, like, this is like a little insight into me and like how I operate. I did not even want my stimulus check. I literally feel so guilty about contributing to $3 trillion. I am sick to my stomach. And if I could have given that up financially because it was a Band-Aid for 1 month, just a little bit of help, I wish that we couldn't have taken that because I really believe that what that $3 trillion is going to do is just it. I don't think, I mean, I know it helped a lot of people out, but like for me, I would have rather starved than take it. I really almost would have.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Andre Corbet, have you ever had sex with a Canadian?
I can tell a story and I can say a name. How's that? No,
sure.
But I could have.
I'm sure Andre would appreciate that.
Okay, so Andre, I was at, somebody asked about Cheapskates earlier, which is, it's technically reality TV. So every year I spent a lot of dough that I didn't have going to Real Screen. And Real Screen is basically a huge convention for unscripted, for networks and for production companies. It has no place for the talent. So that means that I'm going to show up. So anyway, I've crashed that like 3 years in a row where like people are like, why are you even here? But it leads to meetings and it leads to bumping into people. And even though I don't have funding, I get to know people at production companies and like, wow, you know, you're a very interesting personality. And it's led me to some contracts, right? So all I remember is I saw this comedian that was talking there and I wasn't in awe or I wasn't marking out. I just thought he was really funny and I wanted to talk to him and I wanted to text him. But sure enough, I think he thought like that I had other intentions. But he kind of sidled up to me and he put his arm around me and was like, "How you?" He was like very smooth, very confident, and very sexy in his own right. But like It just wasn't my kind of sexy, if you know what I mean. And that was Pauly Shore. But he was a gentleman, and he definitely was like working some magic. So you know what? If I wanted to go have a little bit of something, I think the door would have been open with Pauly Shore. And then some of the guys from Jackass I've run into who I know, maybe aren't as particular. Whatever. I won't even say it. Like, I've run into Steve-O a couple times and he's been great. So, whether or not he would have done the deed with me or not, I can't say. I can only speculate. But I'm trying to think if there's any comedians that I think are hot. I love
he said Canadians, as in like, because we're Canada's #1 combat sports YouTube channel here.
Are you really?
Yeah, but that's interesting about Pauly Shore. I really liked him back when I was a kid. The Biodome and Encino Man, I think, was my favorite.
It was great. And let me tell you one thing to your tipper, and thank you for that. That was wonderful. I think you tipped, even if you didn't. Thank you for being here. You're very.
You didn't, but we have another person that tipped that you can answer next.
Hold on. I was going to say I would much rather somebody that is funny than somebody that physically maybe is my 10. I'll go for the sense. And again, it goes back to like my mom and how I was conditioned about humor and laughing and making things a joke and an adventure. I think somebody with a wonderful personality would trump the way they look any day. I've dated a lot of famous people that I don't want to say who they are just because they're freaking assholes and I don't want to give them any camera time. But I know one that cheated on me with 144 vaginas, I think, during our run. Thank you. I found that by looking at his email, which I should have never done, but I was looking for a reason to leave and I needed a reason. Otherwise, once you look at a phone or an email, you're done. You shouldn't even, you have trust issues and you need to exit the stage left. But I will admit to have looking through the emails, there were 144 vaginas that were there. And he used to say, I worry about you more than me. And I'm like, why? Like, you have a history of being a player. And he said, because you go for people with the insides rather than the outsides, where I'm clearly a piece of shit that only goes for lots of vaginas. So that's a side note. I would go for the comedian over the hot guy.
If it was a one-night stand, I would definitely take the hot person over the funny person. Sorry.
Ooh, you would?
Oh, yes. Unquestionably. I'm very proud.
I guess. I've dated a guy, or I had a one-night stand with a guy that was like a 20. He's the only guy that I think ever got me off or like knew what he was doing. I was like, damn, and he was physically the most perfect guy but he was just too dumb for me. Like, a lot of the really good looking ones are so dumb. Again, I'd go for somebody with the wit and whatnot, but I mean, good for you for letting everybody know what a shallow piece of shit you truly are.
Well, yeah, I'm not single anymore. So I'm talking about in past days.
Oh, in past things.
Haha Geo tips $4.99 and says, who is your favorite legend to meet in wrestling, drug scene in early TNA, and have you witnessed any wrestlers court or crazy road stories? Loaded questions there.
Too many. Okay, who was my favorite legend to meet? What's this guy's name again?
Haha Geo.
Haha Geo?
Yeah.
Okay, Haha Geo. I'm going to give you an insight and be very transparent with you of what a dipshit that I was. I didn't even know who I was meeting in TNA. I was so up my own ass, in my own head, in a dark, dark place during my TNA run that I met so many amazing people and I didn't even know it. Now, in hindsight, Scott Hall, who I worked with for years, had no idea who I was from pay-per-view to pay-per-view. In fact, it was always him chewing on his gimmick, whatever it was, that toothpick thing. And he'd be like, what's up, Toots? How are you? And I'm like, Scott, it's me. I'm the same. And he'd be like, who's this new one? He's good looking, And I'm like, it's still me, Scott. Like, so I guess Scott Hall was a really big deal, but I didn't know. Now I will tell you who the most beautiful wrestler that I've ever met on the inside was Sean Waltman. Like, this guy, we grew up, get this, bro. Gaga, Jaja, Binks, whatever your name is, whatever. We grew up 2 blocks away from each other in North Minneapolis. Sean and I did. We went to the same thing, same mix, and I never knew him. And I didn't get to know him until I lived in Beverly Hills, Century City. And he and China lived literally 1 block, 2 blocks. Again, years later in our lives, from childhood to adulthood, he and China lived two blocks away from me. I was in Century City and they were right on peak. I won't say where they live, but they were right by me. And I didn't get to really know him until I lived in LA and I'd go to some indie shows and whatnot. And he was a beautiful human being. And he's funny as fuck. Like, go watch some of those interviews. There's some guy that asks some really tacky shit that's out there, an interviewer, but I guess it's what you guys want to hear. Maybe some of you, but he'll ask like, would you screw her or not? Or he's really crass. And Sean Waltman gets on there and he just like lays it out. Like, he is a funny dude. I think he's probably like a few sheets to the wind during the interview, but needless to say, it's a really, really good interview. Another person who I just talked to the other day was The Truth Killings. Like, he was always so freaking cool to me and never gross. Like, none of these guys hit on me or made me feel uncomfortable or like I didn't matter as a human being. And I know that probably sounds Pollyanna pie in the sky, but like, people at the end of the day, if we felt like we mattered more, there'd probably be less bullshit going on in the world. Every single guy in TNA treated me with like the utmost respect. Bobby Roode was really cool to me and I still talk to him. I saw him the last time WWE came into town. I went and got him double steak Qdoba and brought it into the arena. And they wouldn't let me in. I'm like, look, I've got to get this to Bobby Roode. And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, we don't let outside food in. We don't know who you are. And I was like, he just texted me. He needs some steak. And they let me in. So those are some people that were really, really great to me. The Harris twins aren't exactly like legends with WWE per se, but they were super cool to me. Drug scene, that was every day. Like, I mean, I can't even tell you everybody, with the exception of the guys after the pay-per-views that would go to the ale house and then they'd go to the gym at the hotel. And those were the CM Punks and the Christopher Daniels and the Alan Funks. Like, there's a reason that they look the way that they do. And I'm not saying they did or didn't. I'm just saying for the most part, like, they walked the walk and like, we're really into being athletes and conditioning their bodies. But drugs are a huge part of it. It's never mine. I've never done one drug in my life. I don't drink alcohol and I don't smoke. And that's just because if I were to have the calories, it would be like chocolate cake or peanut butter chocolate ice cream, chocolate ice cream with almonds or mint chocolate chip or creme brulee, any cake, any pies, popovers, pastries, or baked goods. That's my downfall, which is also an addiction. But I never did any drugs. That just wasn't for me. So I kind of stayed out of all of that. But holy shit, I saw a lot. And I saw some bukkake in the hallways where I just kind of looked at guys who were doing, what's the term, ejaculating on women. I would just say, wow, really, bro? And I would walk by like disturbed by it, but I never really got into it. I just thought, if you want to jizz on some people, then that's your business. But I don't do that.
Also, if you're cheap, being into drugs would kind of be counter effective because overall it's a pretty big waste of money.
It's a huge waste of money, but a lot of people that have addictions get that stuff for free or they trade it for sex or other things. So as you can see by my Match.com, run-ins, I'm not having a lot of sex.
Oh my God. I hope you didn't pay for your Match.com profile.
Say it again.
Did you actually pay for your Match.com profile?
Oh, of course. And you know what's funny? You guys will get a kick out of this. The messages that I got for years about my Match.com profile, where there's no way that a woman wrote this, a man wrote this profile because it was so good to men. Like, I love guys. I love men. I get how they're wired. I just said this on the last podcast that I was on. I worship men. I wish we'd stop demasculating them and just let them be who they are. Obviously, if women are attracted to men, there's a reason. Like, they are who they are. Yeah, keep your dick in your pants, please. I don't want to be infected with a disease, but you are a guy, and that's what I'm attracted to. If I wanted to date a woman, I would date a woman, and I don't. I like a masculine dude, like, I get the bros. I get the bros. But yeah, they thought that my dream is always, if I were to get married, which I'm not, like, there's no reason to. I'm not having kids, and it's paper to me. Like, if you're not committed here and here, then I don't. Whatever. Every to each his own. But my profile was that of, like, if I ever did get married, here's how I would want it to go down. And this is how they're like, there's no way a woman wrote this. I would love to tell everybody that, because this would be very believable. I'd love to invite and fly in my friends and family and say, we're going to do a show. The band is going to do a show, and here's how it's going to go down. You all have to come wearing a specific color because we're going to be filming a video. We want it to look really like, monochromatic. We want it to be bells and whistles. So let's pick pink or beige or purple or whatever. Everybody has to come in some kind of purple. Next, we're going to do this gimmick where we've got all these tents set up, everybody. Okay. And because I'm a photographer, what we're going to do, and an author, I'm writing, we're going to have you all bring your favorite potluck dinner. As goofy as that sounds, I want you to bring out of a category, desserts, main, sides, your signature dish. And then here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick an element like glass or wood or plastic, shimmery or whatever. You must bring your dish in the consistent branded vibe, because we are going to photograph everything at the show. And we're going to have somebody writing and transcribing, email in your recipe. We're going to make this incredible tabletop book that's going to be just beautiful. And it's going to be all of the best of the best of. We'll have the band playing. We're going to shoot this tabletop gimmick book, and then we're going to donate the proceeds that we make online, Amazon, whatever, to a charity. We're going to all figure out what the charity is. Dude, everybody would buy that so hook, line, and sinker, and they'd show up and they'd feel great and they'd look great and they'd go out and find something cool to wear within the color, and they'd bring their stuff, and it would be like honoring them and their family recipe. Here's a chance to make money for charity. We'll entertain you. The band will play. And then I would get married. Then my groom would come on stage and we'd be like, ha, here's what it really is. Of course, we'd still all do that stuff, but here's the gist of it. I don't ever want anybody to feel obligated to bring a gift. And I think a lot of people bail on weddings, or they feel stressed out or anxiety, because you got to give a really good gift at a wedding. And people don't have it, especially now. Not that I'm ever getting married, because hell isn't freezing over anytime soon. But I would love people to come to something where they felt no obligation and they felt a skip in their step to bring that family recipe and to raise money for a really great charity. And the charities that I love the most are ones where children are sexually abused. Those are the ones that I go above and beyond to raise money for, because nobody wants to talk about all that stuff and it gets swept under the table because it's not sexy. Nobody wants to talk about a little kid getting hurt and human trafficking and whatnot. So that's what I describe, like something similar to that on Match.com and blah, blah, blah. And like, they're like, there's no woman, because most women, they want to rape you at the wedding. And I don't. And I want, here's the part. I say a twisty tie around my finger literally would be enough. Or a one single band with like a little moon in it. And there's personal significance to that for me. Like I would never want to put a man out for a wedding or make him work extra hard to come up with enough money for a fucking ring. Like if your love doesn't like stand the test of time, like no amount of money is going to put any value on that for me. Like just keep your dick in your pants, be a good dude, and have a dick. That'd be great. If you don't, that's fine. But that would be enough for me. And like putting all that down on Match.com, they're like, a man wrote this profile. I'm like, well, basically one did, but that's my dream wedding right there. There you go.
And the accountant guy, Dan, tipped another $5, and he says, you need a different CPA. You're referring to the PPP loan. I'm talking IDL loan based on gross revenue, Patriot Counseling, LLC.com.
Will he message me, please, on, would you mind? Is it Dan?
Yeah, there you go. Because I'm sure the rest of the fans don't want to hear about that.
Yeah,
thanks. You did have a $4.99 tip here from, I don't know how to pronounce this, but I'll butcher it, Schledigen 90 or something. Did any wrestler ever take you to eat at the White Trash Cafe, that famous cafe where Teddy Hart beat up CM Punk?
You know what? That is where we would go for our catering, as we would go to the White Trash Cafe, and it was down the hill from the asylum. It's no longer there. And even the fairgrounds, I guess, I think they're all smashed up now too. I've got some really fond memories of the White Trash Cafe. It was basically what they call in the South a meat, MEAT, and 3. ODB has kind of like her meat and 3 thing that she's doing right now with her food truck. And nobody took me to dinner there per se, but that's where we would all eat and have camaraderie and break bread. And it was, a magical time. And I always refer to like, I was, you know what, guys, I was doing some things that I shouldn't have been doing back then. I was really young and dumb, and I was in a bad place. I wish more than anything, I could just go back in time and like take that part of my life and kick it to the curb and like really enjoy the magic that was there. But I will tell, if that other guy, that Dan, the administrative financial man, my thing at the White Trash Cafe is I wanted TNA to put it on my credit card so that the money that occurred every week was going towards my miles. That's where my brain was, not necessarily on the food. But that's a great question, and I wish that I knew you personally, and I wish that the White Trash Cafe was here, because if you could come to Nashville for the day, being a Hannibal supporter and somebody who tipped $4.99, I would give nothing more, and I would love nothing more than to take you on a tour around the town. I think that would be a blast.
And Hurricane Maverick, one of my big fans on here, wanted me to ask you what you think of my challenge to Cody Rhodes, and do you think he's just going to continue ducking me, or if he'll actually step up?
What do you think, bro? Seriously, what does he think? Because I just saw some of that stuff last night, and I was like, Cody Rhodes is like, I know too much about him. So I can't say like, I know a lot about him because I'm a woman and I know other women. So I can only allude, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, Cody Rhodes seems to be a ladies' man, and I don't know if he's going to step up and take the challenge. What do you think, Hannibal? Do you think he's going to keep ducking?
It really depends. He knows that it would be very dangerous to fight me, because if he puts it on live TV, I don't want a contract. I would just take his little title from him. I've put the option out there, if he's afraid of that, me and Taylor Hendricks against him and his wife, and we can embarrass both of them. But he likes to fight the setups that are basically just going to go along with the script.
Why did you initiate that challenge?
The fans wanted it.
Oh, it's a Goldberg. It's the fans deciding it. Okay. And tell me about Taylor, because she seems like a really interesting woman that's just building her brand and like taking names and numbers. What's she like?
From what I know of her, I like to call her my angel of death. She has a black belt in Taekwondo.
Get out of here.
She's dark. I think she's got a bad side to her. I think she would personally destroy Brandy if given the opportunity, but Brandy would be afraid for the same reasons. So, but she is part of the Russo brand too, just like you.
Yeah, of course, I know that. Yeah, absolutely. She's very mysterious, so I've always wanted to know more about her.
Well, you'll be seeing more of her on this channel, because my fans seem to appreciate her. I like her style a lot. I think she's very talented. She's been fucked around a little bit by Ring of Honor. And I'm surprised. I'll ask you about this. This Marty Squirrel guy, who's their booker over at Ring of Honor, has admitted that he had sex with like a 16-year-old when he was 26 or 27. I guess that's more acceptable over in the UK. But Ring of Honor has made like no statement on it. It appears they're just going to overlook that information coming out.
What do you want my quote? What do you want my opinion on things?
Do you think they should just ignore it, or do you think that whatever? I guess that's not illegal in the UK. I guess if you're 27 in the UK, I guess that's fine.
So I've got a really weird take on a lot of things, and my take is my personal take on things, and it's just not what other females are. It's not, I don't think like I think like a guy does, or at least I don't think like your typical female does. And I would just get too beat up for my opinion. My opinion is I don't fucking care. I'm sorry. Like I just don't, let them hash it out. Let them hash it out in court. Is it my business? Is it not? It's so interesting when I look at like presidents and how some get like completely crucified, and then others, it's like, whatever. It's like, let's just like take a look at it. And I'm not going to drag in politics, but it's a good, what's my time? Are we done right now, or can I tell the story?
You can go on. Sure. Tell the story.
So if you look at politics, because it's an interesting just segue and a way to analyze things. You have presidents who do a lot of things wrong behind closed doors or financially, and then you have presidents that do them wrong in like the public eye, and like where is the line on what you accept? And then why do some people accept, like, okay, I'm upset that you say grab her by the pussy. Like, I'm upset because of that. Okay, well, why are you upset? Because he said that. Because he's the president of the United States and like he should be representing in a certain way. Is that why? Or is it just because you don't like him? Or is it because you're a Democrat or you're blue or you're liberal or what? Like, you have to identify, like, why don't you like something that somebody is saying? Because like, I remember, I don't know, people just seem to have forgotten. Like, I don't know, maybe you've heard of this, probably not. Nobody heard of this. Nobody heard of a president who jizzed on a chick's dress and stuck a cigar up her twat. Like, I don't think anybody even remembers what I'm talking about, because it seems like nobody remembers that. Like, why is that okay? And then something that was said off record, not okay. And that's where it just gets into these lines of like, what is okay and what's not okay. And at the end of the day, I'm fucking exhausted by trying to figure out what's okay and what's not okay, when it's not necessarily my business. My business is my camp and who I represent and I work with, and what some guy who did something with a chick in the UK is like, that to me is their business. Now, if he is right now in a position where he's training young girls and he's representing like the cheerleading squad and whatnot, by all means. But if not, like, why does that concern us or me when they're just other fish to fry? I just look at it like that. Like, it's not even a UK versus US. It's sort of like, I don't know, how many years ago did it happen? Does that matter? All the stuff that's going on with Dave Lagana and all that. Like, and I read and I dig into the story, and then I'm just like, I don't know. At the end of the day, does it apply to me? How does it affect me? What can I do to make change? But why is this being talked about right now? Like, why did this come up? Because is there some new contract for him or a new job or a promotion, or why are people caring?
I don't know. I don't like David Lagana. I don't think he's talented. And this Marty Squirrel guy is another one of these little midget wrestlers.
So again, you got a personal thing against him. Like, if he wasn't in wrestling, or if he was just this accountant that slept with a 16-year-old, would you care? I'm asking you, not rhetorical.
Dave Lagana, I don't think slept with a 16-year-old. I think he was accused of asking Mordecai to do something in the male bathroom in WWE. I think that's why WWE released him. Then there was something with NWA. For this Marty Squirrel, I don't know. I actually don't care that much.
Okay.
I think Ring of Honor is a shitty company. I wish them nothing but the worst.
Dude, what is your... I hate you. I hate you.
Get rid of the crappy wrestling companies. What? By the way, I put Impact in that same category.
Oh,
we won't get into this. You've given us over an hour. I really appreciate it.
Thank
all the fans for the wonderful tips. I'm sure Goldilocks appreciates it. Maybe we'll have her back again someday to share more Match.com stories. Anything you want to plug here before we close off?
Yes, I would love to plug, if you want a decent, I'm not going to poop on you or pee on you cameo. Don't send me this shit. If you want a decent shout out on Patreon, to trying to give, if you do like, there's Hannibal, there's all of Hannibal's content, and look at that demon in the corner. Where is he? There he is. Boom, boom, boom. Opposite. Right there. If you're looking for that, great. And maybe if you need a little counter sunshine, patreon.com/Goldilocks. We're definitely trying to come up with lots of wrestling stories, lots of behind the scenes for the music, and some motivating daily content every day where we do tell some funny stories, but spin it into something that can help you. We'd love to see you over there. Please follow on Instagram and Twitter, Goldilocks Rocks with a Y. And I see how it gets with politics. You run, motherfucker.
I'm from Canada. I don't give a damn about American politics. The only thing I know about American politics is a WWE Hall of Famer is in the White House. So I do support that a wrestling person is in the White House, just as I would support The Rock if he was in the White House. And he has totally different views.
You love wrestling. What does your lady friend think about all this wrestling that you live and breathe wrestling? You said that you're not single anymore. What does she think?
I don't discuss personal stuff on this channel. I keep that kayfabe.
You brought it up, or I would have never said anything.
I was just saying that I'm not into my evil ways anymore with the ladies, where I'm having like multiple girls at a time and so forth.
Oh, God almighty. All right.
So thank you for speaking with us. Really appreciate it. Everyone follow Goldilocks. She is a hilarious character, part of Vince Russo's brand. Do you have anything negative to say about Jim Cornette to close this off? I think he's overrated. His Smoky Mountain Wrestling was in business, 2 years before it went out of business. He was writing for WWE when they had the Goon, TL Hopper, all those shitty characters.
Why are you
writing for WCW?
Why are you even bringing up Jim Cornette? Like, what's your beef?
Because he's been running his mouth lately, and we recently posted. He was running his mouth even about a friend of mine, Rick Bassman, who trained the Ultimate Warrior, Sting, John Cena lately, and Rick Bassman has challenged him legitimately to a shoot fight. But I'm bringing up Jim Cornette because you're part of the Vince Russo brand.
And Vince doesn't like Jim Cornette.
Jim Cornette's very jealous of Vince Russo, of course, because Russo, I think, got an 8.2, 8.3 rating for Raw, a rating they'll never reach again, and was much more successful. So I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on Cornette.
I have heard, and again, like I just had lunch with John Arezzi, and John Arezzi, worked with Russo for a long time, and not a long time, but they brought him in, and then they had heat for many, many years. And then somebody came in, Matt so-and-so came in and did a mediated shoot interview, and it got heated, and Jim Cornette just kept coming up. And it's like, I don't know Jim Cornette. I just know like this history and this blood. And I would love to interview Jim Cornette sometime and just get his side of like, why, like personally, nice. Goldilocks is sweet. You won't hear that, but like, you'll never hear somebody say I'm not professional, or I'm not on top of my shit, or I don't work really hard. So like, you kind of have your staples of what you hear about people. I wish in a perfect world that I would hear more positive things about Jim Cornette. So I would love to interview him and just ask him, like, does he enjoy heat? And I'm not being a smart ass. I'm saying maybe he gets off on heat. Maybe like he gets off on, some people like conflict and they like friction. Like they are programmed or haven't resolved some things where they really enjoy that. And bro, I got to tell you, like what you were just talking about, you're not going to talk about your personal life. Dude, I want drama free. I want easy going. I'd like to get laid and just have it not be a problem. I'd like to go eat some good food, but I'm always training. So I can't, I like things now, at my age, which doesn't matter, but I'm not 20 anymore. I like things to be smooth sailing. And I would love to know from Jim Cornette, like, what is it about you that it just seems like why wouldn't you want to like try to work with you or Vince, or like I was asking about Taylor, like I'm thinking like, how can I tap into that? Like, what can we do together? How can we facilitate? I tell you my dream role back at TNA or any promotion, like how can I be the glue to help? Like what happened to him in his life where it just seems like he definitely does, or appears, I could be wrong, to thrive on friction and conflict and negative things. Like I wish I could help in some way.
Well, I can tell you why. It has nothing to do with that. I don't think he just makes money off of his feud with Vince Russo, and he makes money off of continuously insulting AEW. That's his gimmick. People want to hear him bash that.
Fair enough.
I think that's really just the reason.
Is it?
Ideally, in a perfect world, I bet you Jim Cornette would like to watch Vince Russo fuck his wife, because I hear he's into that type of thing.
Well, then we've got great people that I can give Jim Cornette on Cameo. All I have is handles, but I mean, I've got a lot of people that want to see their moms screwed and, me to poop on them. And so,
apparently, according to reports, Cornette's into that stuff, but I'm sorry for trying to get you to comment on that.
I don't know the guy. I don't know anything about him other than what I've heard from.
Because of course, no good-looking women give a damn about Jim Cornette. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. As we get it, hey, you are in jeans. You were telling me that you were in like something. Oh, they're sweatpants. Okay.
Sexy top, and then I'm like, I got sweatpants on. I don't even care. Forget about it.
Cool. Well, to close this off, would you mind? You said you know a little bit about Cody Rhodes. Would you mind just closing this off? Cut a little promo on Cody for me. Tell him to take my challenge. Stop ducking me. Stop being a pussy.
Well, where's my camera?
Sorry, I'm still learning this StreamYard thing. I'm
really hard.
Let me remove my. I lost your audio.
Promo. Come on, bro.
Hold on, I lost your audio for a second.
Son of a bitch.
I lost your audio.
Are you there? Am I here? I can click off and tell me if you can even hear me.
Hold on, I can hear you now, so I'll remove myself again. Sorry.
Right, here we go.
I'm pissing you off and then asking you to do a promo for me. Great job.
Cody Rhodes, how you doing? It's Goldy from the first inception of NWA TNA Impact Wrestling. Look, we've never officially met. Not yet. Now, I have to say, I have seen a call to action, a challenge. You know what I'm talking about? Hannibal, you. And I see you all over the internet, all over your own page with this belt, and you're turning to the side with this very, like, I don't know, like Ken from Mattel. Like, it's a cross between Ken from Mattel, Eminem, Justin Bieber, and Max Headroom. Like, if you were to take all four of those heads and like crush them into one head and make this like perfectly beautiful, physically human being, you've got that. You've got a challenge that has been set. And I just think you should take it. You should take it with your pretty little blonde head and that sparkly belt and just walk in there and do what you know you were destined to do. Just think of how much more beautiful and shiny that you would be if you beat Hannibal. I think you got it, bro. I think you really do. And I'm on Hannibal's show right now, shit talking Hannibal. And apparently trying to shit talk Jim Cornette, which I don't fucking know. But I do know you, Cody.
I'll cut you off just to end it. That Cody would not stand a chance in hell of beating me. I'm a better grappler, striker, fighter. I got the size advantage. He is a coward. He is ducking me. Be a man, Cody. I'm cutting Goldy off because she's pissing me off. Have a great night, everybody.